A very good evening. This is Eswatini TV News at 8. I am Nathile Sitole, alongside Nomaklabiso Ngambule. First up, let's have a look at our headlining stories. His Majesty King Eswatini III says he is confident that his visit in the Republic of Singapore is a launch pad for greater economic cooperation between the Kingdom of Eswatini and Singapore. The Deputy Prime Minister Thema Masuku has left the country to represent His Majesty King Eswatini III at the SACU Heads of State Summit. In line with the Prime Minister Cleopas Sipho Dlamini's statement and address to the nation yesterday, tomorrow, June 29, 2022, is a normal working day in the Kingdom of Eswatini. Glad to have you with us. His Majesty King Eswatini III says he is confident that his working visit in the Republic of Singapore is a launch pad for greater economic cooperation between the Kingdom of Eswatini and the Republic. His Majesty spoke during the Eswatini Business Seminar that was hosted by the Singapore Business Federation. The King made use of the event to urge Singapore investors to consider the Kingdom as a preferred investment destination.
His Majesty King Eswatini III met with potential investors from different sectors that drive the Singapore economy during the business seminar that was convened by the Singapore Business Federation. The Singapore Business Federation represents the interests of 27,000 Singapore companies. The seminar touched on ways of enhancing trade relations between Eswatini and Singapore and exploring investment opportunities that are available for Singapore investors in Eswatini. His Majesty King Eswatini III stressed that the Kingdom of Eswatini is constantly shaping its investment climate to ensure that the operational environment is more permissive to business.
We are paying close attention to all factors in our control to stay competitive. This has helped us remain at the top in Africa when it comes to trading across borders in the World Bank Ease of Doing Business. The government seeks to ensure that the establishment of productive enterprises is done seamlessly. Government has also put in place fiscal support measures to ensure the cost of establishment of businesses and initial operational costs are reduced drastically through a range of options from fiscal to non-fiscal incentives.
The King is confident that his working trip in Singapore will accelerate trade and investment activity between the two nations.
We see this visit as a landmark for the takeoff towards greater economic and other cooperation between our two countries. In our interactions here today with the ministers, senior government officials, as well as captains of various industries and business people at this business seminar is testament to the importance we attach to strengthening cooperation between the Kingdom of Eswatini and Singapore. We therefore wish to make a call to all the businesses here to consider and make a stand on bridging the distance between our countries by making alive the business and trade opportunities presented at this seminar.
Haresh Aswani, the Managing Director of Africa Tolaram, shared his experiences based on when the Tolaram Group set up the most modern noodle facility in the kingdom. In collaboration with the Kellogg Company, he heaped praises on His Majesty's government for meeting the company halfway while it set up shop in the kingdom.
The infrastructure in Eswatini is first class, I must say. They have 24/7 power. And its location is very strategic because it covers all of Southern African countries around it. Although it's landlocked, its access to ports is very available through Mozambique, Maputo, and also through the Durban port. Please pack your bags, come to
Singapore investors came to the seminar with a keen interest to discover more about the Eswatini investment climate. They posed hard and deeply engaging questions, which included the benefits that they can reap from investing in the kingdom. They also wanted to be enlightened on the state of technology in the kingdom and if Eswatini has any plans to tap into the lucrative cannabis industry. Some wanted to be walked through sectors like tourism and agriculture, while some wanted to know about the kind of skills that they can import into the kingdom. The investors were given an assurance that the kingdom has made significant strides to remain highly competitive in the ICT sector and that legislative framework required to tap into the cannabis industry is taking shape. They were also engaged on the advantages that come with investing in the kingdom and the skills that the Eswatini workforce offers. Their inquiries were handled by the Minister of Information, Communication and Technology, Her Royal Highness Nkosatana Skhanyiso, the Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Mangoba Khumalo, and the Chief Executive Officer of Eswatini Investment Promotion Authority, Sibani Mngomezulu, together with the Director of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises in the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Mluleki Dlamini. On the news, I'm Sandile Makanya reporting in Singapore.
During the business seminar, His Majesty King Mswati III urged the Republic of Singapore to tap into the opportunities that are on offer in the African Continental Free Trade Area by investing in the Kingdom of Eswatini. The King also called on Commonwealth member states to increase trade activity amongst themselves.
We acknowledge the developments towards the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area to boost the intra-Africa trade, which is currently at 18% as compared to other regions in Europe and Asia. The AFCFTA, with a combined population of 1.2 billion people and a combined GDP of 2.2 trillion, is a huge market, and Eswatini can be used by Singapore companies as a launch pad to the wider African continental market. A wind of many trading blocs awaits us in ensuring that business opportunities between Singapore and Eswatini are explored. In other developments, as the family of the Commonwealth of Nations, we need to increase intra-trade amongst ourselves. This has been highlighted during the Commonwealth Heads of State and Government meeting in Rwanda. Member states were encouraged to share experiences, skills, and expertise so that we can realize meaningful growth.
In line with His Excellency, the Honorable Prime Minister Cleopas Sipho Dlamini's statement and address to the nation yesterday, tomorrow, June 29, 2022, is a normal working day in the Kingdom of Eswatini. Public holidays are gazetted first and announced accordingly by the incumbent government. They are not designated and announced by any other entity in society. This communique has been issued by government spokesperson Alpheus Umalo. The Deputy Prime Minister Themba Masuku says the Southern African Customs Union Heads of State Summit will look into challenges that are caused by the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Masuku was speaking at King Mswati III International Airport during his departure to Botswana to represent His Majesty King Mswati III.
Deputy Prime Minister jetted off the kingdom to represent His Majesty King Mswati III at the 7th SACU Summit that will be held in Botswana on the 30th of June 2022. When addressing the media, the Deputy Prime Minister Themba Masuku says the Minister of Finance, Neil Rackenberg, is already in the Republic of Botswana, where a number of issues will be deliberated on.
bese kwehlukaniselwana-ke lamavela la kulo iBotswana, Lesotho, Namibia, nathi ne-South Africa. So lona-ke i-summit yenteke emva kwesikhathi kutobukwa onke lama-issues ikakhulu nje nyalo lokhu sekunaletinto letivele emhlabeni ngama-issues latafika akhulunywele ukuze baholi balamave batobonisana ukuthi batawudilisha njani naletinto. So hambile Minister of Finance. So phambili bona.
The Kingdom of Eswatini will be among the hosts, which is Botswana, the Kingdom of Lesotho, the Republic of Namibia, and South Africa. For Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangen with Mbongwa Dube, Sikuphe.
Eswatini members of the Pan-African Parliament are in Midrand, South Africa, attending the PAB ordinary session. During this 5-day session, there will also be the PAB Bureau members' elections. The main issue with the elections is that countries in the southern part of Africa want the presidency to rotate, while some other regions seem not to be for the idea.
The Pan-African Parliament Ordinary Session has been officially opened at its headquarters in Midrand, South Africa. The meeting is attended by members of the Parliament, who include those from Eswatini, who are led by Mochane Member of Parliament Robert Magongo. The session was opened by African Union Chairperson Musa Faki Mahamat. Mahamat said there was a missing voice due to the silence of the PAP. Mahamat asked members to observe a moment of silence for the 21 young people who died at a tavern in the Eastern Cape over the weekend. As the session is now open, it is expected that the PAP Bureau members' election will be held tomorrow, being Wednesday. These elections had to be held last year. However, they could not due to a clash between Anglophone and Francophone countries over how they should be conducted. Anglophone countries wanted and still want the head honcho seat to rotate among regions and not to be in one. The session will end on the 2nd of July. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosima Vimbela. Visuals were sourced from the African Union.
The Happy Valley Hotel and Casino has presented a sum of 200,000 Malangeni to Hope House and Cheshire Home. According to Senior Public Relations Officer at the casino, they are lending a helping hand to these two homes to continue providing palliative help.
The private sector has yet again proved that it is a sector with a soul. The Happy Valley has donated a sum of 200,000 Malangeni to Cheshire Homes and Hope House. Cheshire Homes was presented with a sum of 80,000 Malangeni, while Hope House received 120,000 Malangeni. When presenting the checks, the Happy Valley Hotel's communication officer Nelly Masego says these organizations are doing a great job in taking care of Emaswati.
So today, Happy Valley Casino is pleased to offer a financial support first to Hope House to the amount of 120,000 Emalangeni, as well as Cheshire Homes to the value of 80,000 Emalangeni. As we offer this package to Cheshire Homes and Hope House on behalf of Happy Valley Casino and the directors, it is because they do nothing but help and not complain, ladies and gentlemen.
The director for Cheshire Homes, Kabo Dlamini, says they rely on donations to be able to provide services that they do.
We are Cheshire Homes and we rely heavily on donations. Donations can be in kind, can be your time, can be a space in the paper. And with that, it's not always the big packages that we say thanks to.
Hope House Programs Coordinator Sister Elsa Joseph says the funds will be used to secure medication for patients.
A single home where they have to cook for themselves and take care of them, wash for them, clean for them. So all what is required is someone to stay with the client, even if they are not able to pay anything. If they don't pay, we don't chase them away. But
Inathi Dlamini, Business Eswatini's Chief Executive Officer, says the private sector plays a major role in assisting Emaswati. Dlamini says they supported a number of initiatives, including the vaccination campaign with a sum of 3 million emalangeni. For Eswatini TV News, Ndomlangeni with Mbongwa Dube, Babane.
Male mentoring organization Gwaka Involza has commended Swazi males who have participated in their Babelokotwa mentoring program and Lisango Letempilo program, which are aimed at teaching positive fatherhood as well as capacitating men on HIV, respectively.
Wrapping up the month of June, which is Men's Health Month, Eswatini male mentoring organization Gwaka Involza, which has been on the ground fostering positive fatherhood under their program Babelokotwa, the Good Dad campaign, is happy with the strides taken during the course of the month. Gwaka Involza Advocacy and Communications Coordinator Sakile Shabangu says some key issues that were addressed are the prevention of fast-growing suicide rates, as well as encouraging health-seeking behavior in men.
In the month of June and prior to that, we have been running a campaign called the Babelokotwa for the Good Dad campaign, wherein we have been capacitating men and expectant fathers and fathers on how to support pregnant partners, on how to spend quality time with their children. And the reason for this is because there are so many issues that men are not involved in the home that also affect their health in turn in the long run. And therefore, under this program, we have been working with men from different regions in the country to help them understand the importance of positive fatherhood, because there's a difference between fatherhood and positive fatherhood. So in the month of June, we have been continuing those sessions with different men in the country, mostly expectant fathers and fathers, to try and help them understand the important role that they play in the household. And apart from that, we have also been working with men in what we are calling Lisango Letempilo, where we are speaking about issues of HIV prevention in the country, being that the country has recently reached its milestone, being the 95-95-95 goals. And in these sessions, we're basically trying to understand the role that men can continue to play when it comes to HIV prevention, and what also are the barriers that are currently hindering men from actually participating in HIV prevention.
Other issues that were discussed this Men's Health Month were health issues around diabetes and prostate cancer. A research conducted by the World Health Organization in 2020 indicates that 93 cases of prostate cancer were recorded in that year, marking a 27% prostate cancer statistic in Eswatini. Sifiso Ngumalo with Smuva Shongwe for Eswatini TV News in Babane.
The Information and Education Officer for the Road Safety Department under the Ministry of Public Works and Transport, Tsembani Dlamini, says the Malakwane cooling station has reduced heavy vehicle accidents. However, the ease of traffic congestion has invited reckless driving among private motorists.
The Ministry of Public Works and Transport continues with reconstructing the retained and non-load-bearing walls along the Mbabane-Manzini Highway. These walls were damaged during the heavy rainfalls earlier this year. The rehabilitation of the road barriers at Mahala is nearing completion. According to the ministry's annual performance report for the year 2021-2022, it reflects that most of the accidents which occurred along the Mbabane-Manzini Highway involved private motorists. Introduction of the cooling station reduced accidents involving heavy vehicles. The Information and Education Officer for the Road Safety Department in the Ministry of Public Works and Transport, Tsembani Dlamini, says the cooling station eases congestion of traffic, which was mainly caused by trucks. However, with less traffic, private motorists now drive recklessly.
Nathi fika lamafika lama truck la cooling station ayemiswa bese aniketwa tigaba ukuthi achubeke ahambe. Lokho kwenta ukuthi akalandzelani futani. Lese sikubonileke lokukabi lokwenteka ukuthi leti moto leti tiyachubeka ke tiyagijima. Seba litubane selikhulile ngalokuthi bathi ukuthi kuncane ukuthi abaphazamisa abasehla lo Malakwane. Tingoti ke setiyenyuka nyalo lo infele seyenteka konje sekuleti moto etincane setishayiseka lapha. Ngaloku ukuthi sebagijima kakhulu abasanaki kunyukile nalo bidlapa lokwendekako basehla lo Malakwane. Siyacela nje ukuthi uma uchubeka wenza kulenza wafuna wathi ukuthi umgwaqo wethu umgwaqo loshelelako
Dlamini further mentions that the Malakwane Road is still faced with drainage challenges. He advises motorists to drive cautiously, especially in rainy conditions. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Tandogutle Mdluli with Smuva Shongwe Babane.
And now we'll have a look at our financial markets.
It can be.
Moving on, we'll have a look at our sports news. International Boxing Association board member Pearl Dlamini says the first General Assembly of the organization discussed issues of assisting the African continent to get boxing equipment. Dlamini says the Kingdom of Eswatini is set to benefit from the same equipment that will be distributed largely in different African countries. Dlamini was speaking after returning from the meeting that was held in Switzerland.
The International Boxing Association held a meeting for board of directors a few days ago in Switzerland. Pearl Dlamini, who is a member of the organization, who also took part of the meeting, says the issues of how the African continent can be developed when it comes to boxing were discussed. Among the priorities that were mentioned is assisting African countries, including the Kingdom of Eswatini, to get boxing equipments which will play a big role in the development of boxing on the continent.
Imave ase-Afrika lokusho ukuthi-ke lelo nalelo live likhona e-Afrika litawusaphotha nge-equipment lethile but ngiyethemba ukuthi lisitho lokuqala vele ekhaya eSwatini badise ukuthi lihlahlandlela kulo msebenzi phela ngimi ngilapha ekhaya eSwatini.
Dlamini concluded mentioning that all board of directors seem to be on the same page when it comes to priorities of the African continent. Other issues highlighted include the general elections of the association that will be held later this year. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera, Mbabane.
Football supporters believe the Premier League of Eswatini should stick to the rules and regulations that detail on the relegation of the 4 teams for the 2021-2022 Premier League season. The supporters, sticking to what is written down, will show signs of professionalism in local football.
It remains unclear to how many teams that are expected to compete in the upcoming 2022-2023 Premier League season, with the decision of how many teams will be relegated for the past season still unclear. According to the rules and regulations of the Premier League of Eswatini for the year 2021-2022, Article 11, it highlights that the 4 teams with less points at the end of the season should be relegated for the National First Division. Some of the football supporters we have spoken to believe rules and regulations should be followed in this matter.
Next season unless ba amenda ke lo mthetho, but as it stand now asilandele umthetho kwehle ma team oyi4.
Ngisakulandzela nje umthetho nangabe umthetho ovuma ukuthi akwehle 4 vele 4 kehle nangabe uvuma ukuthi kwehle 2 akehle kulandzelwe lokho kuze batohlonipheka labantu labala committeeni ngaleso sikhathi
la dwengemba vele akehle la dwengemba ukhushule ke la khushulwa la vele la fanele akhushule
amekuba kwami ngonye ukuthi akuqhubeke nje kwehle lo 4 emathini konyuke lo 4 emathini ngala sizi ngawusolo kwenda kushintsha ngabathi kade kanjalo.
Hayi ngafuna kwehle 4 vele kwehle 4
According to the Premier League of Eswatini Chief Executive Officer Kenneth Makanya, the Football Association also wants the rules and regulations to be followed for now. The Football Association will be holding the annual general meeting in August this year, where clear decisions will be made ahead of the new season of the 2022-2023. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera, Mbabane.
That's all for now. Before we go, let's have a look at our headlining stories.
His Majesty King himself III says he is confident that his visit in the Republic of Singapore is a launch pad for greater economic cooperation between the Kingdom of Eswatini and Singapore. The Deputy Prime Minister Thema Masuku has left the country to represent His Majesty King himself III at the SACU Heads of State Summit. In line with the Prime Minister Cleopas Sipho Dlamini's statement and address to the nation yesterday, tomorrow, June 29, 2022, is a normal working day in the Kingdom of Eswatini.
And that brings us to the end of our bulletin for the evening. Up next is the weather update from myself and the crew. As always, thank you for joining us. Good night.
Welcome to Yes Country for unbeatable